Hello everybody and welcome back to Monday's video here at Bareham Engines.
Back again.
Back again. So mate, first of all, did you have a nice weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Went to the old car show in Bideford.
We did.
Yeah.
First show of the year.
Yeah.
I hate to admit.
I've ever done.
Really? Yeah. In the Subaru?
Yeah.
Get any viewers?
No idea.
No idea, because he disappeared to Westwood O.
I did.
With the missus. And left me on my own.
Sorry, mate.
It's all right, mate. No, it was quite good, actually. It was a nice turnout, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Seen plenty of people there that I know. A few subscribers. And I'll tell you what I did notice. A few people turned up because of us mentioning it in the last video.
There you go.
So there we go, guys. Worked. But yeah, really, really well organised. I love Bideford Park. It's lovely, isn't it?
It's a nice park.
It was.
Big old park as well, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice, mate. It was a good show. They put my put the old Lambo right at the front, didn't they? By the gate.
I laughed when I drove in. I thought he's going to be not very happy about that.
Why?
Well, I thought you'd be like, oh, I don't know.
No, I was happy about that. It was good.
Fair dues.
At the front, innit? Out the way. At least it wasn't going to get anyone rubbing up the side of it.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, I enjoyed that, mate. As I say, should do some more, really.
Yeah.
The only thing is, for me, can be quite a long day in the sun.
It was really.
You know. But you're not allowed to, because obviously insurance and that, you're not allowed to leave early, are you? So, got to stick it out till 4. But I did thoroughly enjoy it. Some very interesting cars there.
Yeah, there were lots of cars there, to be honest.
Yeah, a couple of cars there that we'd done motors for. So yeah, all good. Right, I've spent most of the day doing this normally aspirated one.
Oh yeah.
So I have been cleaning and painting the block again, because that was looking a bit nasty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've took out the oil gallery plugs, etc., and the auxiliary shaft and that, and I've cleaned out all the oil ways, although they were clean. Now, just to recap on this was the one that we think's had a running issue.
Yeah.
Whether it was anything to do with that manifold that was overhanging in between the cylinder head and the throttle bodies, the gasket, don't know. But at some stage, this thing has not been running very well, and it has ate away at the outside of the corners of the pistons.
Yeah.
On a couple. So I've gone for obviously we've got the same piston. These are a Wasner piston. They call it a high comp, but they're normally aspirated. And I've modified the crowns, mate.
Yeah.
So which we can just get away with the bigger valves, but I've what they call troughed the entire side. So I've took it out almost to the bottom, but I've just took out that centre bit, and what that allows is, because we've got bigger valves in it which are closer together, then we're going to have plenty of clearance in the middle. And not only that, but it has lowered the compression slightly, because the head has been skimmed good and proper.
Yeah.
And we've had to send it to Tom to do a little bit of repair work on the face, haven't we? Bit weird. Around the gasket line on 2 of them, it looks like there's a little area where it's sort of sunk in.
Yeah, it hasn't welded before, by the way.
It's been welded up, yeah, which a lot of the 2-wheel drive heads have in the past, because they corrode and they sit for a period of time without any antifreezing, which corrodes the head.
Tom did say it looked like they were a bit porous.
Yeah. But he's messaged me saying it looks like it's successful, so hopefully he hasn't had to put too much heat into it, and we can get away with just a little lick.
Yeah.
But what we've done here is a slight change of design. I've gone for a slightly thinner gasket, troughed the pistons, so it's took the compression down slightly. So really, these are in effect like a flat top now, because you've got this cutaway here and here, and you've got it raised in the middle. So with the gasket thickness that we've got, if I'm right, we've got the correct compression ratio. But I won't know that until we get the head back and you CC one of the pots.
I'll Skimmed it and that.
Yeah, so I've ordered me new bits. There's the gasket, a Cometic one, because Cometic go up to about 2.5 mil thickness,
Oh, right.
which is good.
Yeah.
Although I do prefer to use the Victor Rhines. Cam belt kit from Ultra, and I've got a bottom end set and a set of head bolts down at Ultra. But I'm going to stick a set of crank bearings in it, mate.
Yes.
So another thing with this, when we took the sump off, which is the dry sump there, this thing was stinking.
Yeah, it did smell pretty strongly of fuel, didn't it?
Smelled very petrol-y. Now, bear in mind, this engine has not done much work at all. These are the crank bearings. Don't look good.
Not great.
Now, I don't know whether there's a bit of crap in there, or a combination of a bit of crap, or it's started to pick up on a bearing, especially this end one. Look, it's not looking great.
No, yeah. That's like gone right down to the bottom of that groove.
Yeah, it's like it started to pick up the bearing and wipe it round. So we've got another set of shelves coming. I'm going to double check the clearance, which I'm sure is right. But I think fuel dilution has played a part in that.
Well, for the amount of miles it had done, it did smell very, very petrol-y, didn't it?
It did, mate, yeah. It's and the big ends are similar, look. So, yeah, a bit strange that. I'm going to have to get the owner to, obviously, it's going to be changed, it's going to be different now, but when we get those throttle bodies on with the correct O-rings instead of that gasket, it's got to have to be mapped again. But I'm hoping this solves all his problems, so just waiting for the pick that head up. So we'd hopefully get this finished by the end of the week, shouldn't we?
Yeah, should do.
Yeah, so that's it. It has got the H-section rods in it, the PEC jobbies.
They look like a nice rod.
Yeah, they are a nice rod actually. Not bad. So, moving on to Ken Newton's Rover.
Yeah.
Had quite a lot of feedback from the last video, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
So I've got loads of messages. If you watch the video and have a look at the comments, there's loads of comments. And one comment which was particularly helpful, the guy actually rang this morning.
Oh yeah.
A gentleman called Keith, who has been in the engine reconditioning game prior to him retiring for many years, way longer than you and I have been alive.
Yeah.
But he said, if I was you, don't go tearing the bottom end apart just yet.
No.
No, he said, get Ken to drop the cylinder head in. So I believe John's had a chat with him. Although we thought the cylinder head was fine, or John's checked the head out, he was sure it was fine. He said, double check the O-rings inside the guides.
Right.
So inside the guide is a cutout, like a recess, a groove, and in there should be an O-ring. He said, so the guides need to be good, that O-ring needs to be working well, and also, he said, replace all the bits and bobs in the rocker shaft. He said, because if you don't, it throws excess oil down around the valve guide, and it's going to go down there.
So if there's wear in the shaft, it'll seep out basically.
Yeah. He said they've been involved with quite a few of them in the past, and that's usually what it is. So at the moment, looking at those bores, the cross hatching all looks good.
Yeah.
They've got different rings onto the CPs, so I know a lot of people don't favour the CPs, but they're not. They are. I think they're a cast iron ring on these.
CP or JP?
JP,
Yeah,
sorry.
I was gonna say.
So at the moment, just looking at that, I'm convinced that they might be doing their job. We are going to whip the sump off and take the pistons out just to double check everything, obviously.
Yeah.
But we're going to be looking at that head, replacing everything in the rocker shaft there, and go from there. So thank you very much anyone that commented, giving us some advice on that. That's the handy thing about this channel, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You can stick it on there and hope that someone knows more than you
Yeah,
and tells you what's going on.
exactly.
So another Mini come in.
Yeah, that was from Tom. Yeah.
Tom Upton bought this one in. This is for a Mini that Tom's built. He's built the car basically, and it's a rally car, a race car. Guy's built the engine, but this is a spare, so he wants some work doing here. He wants us to balance the crank assembly and sort all that out. And they're going to build a spare motor. So just another little bit of work to do, mate. A-series are all right, aren't they? Pretty much done the A-series for our friends in Wales. Just got to, which I will do in the morning, just got to balance the rods. I've sized them.
Have I got balance and crank for that one?
Just the crank and the front pulley, yeah. Sized the rods, they were a bit weird.
Oh, were
Bit higgledy-piggledy on the cap, because the cap is a nice slide fit, or a tap fit over the bolts, because the bolts act as a dowel.
Yeah.
But they were a little bit like that, so we've had to resize them. So, what's happened here is, I've just come to edit the video for today. You've muted your mic.
Nice.
So we can't hear a word you're saying, which weren't too bad in the first half of the video, because it's mainly me talking. And you very faintly commenting in the background.
Whispering.
But when we go on to what we're going to be talking about in a minute, we sort of need to hear you.
Yeah.
So let's start again, mate.
Starting
And re-record the second half. What have you been up to today?
Well, I have been, I've been stripping out that Cosworth head, the one that's gone for welding.
Oh, yeah.
And this morning, I took apart the K-series again after talking it all up.
Ooh.
So
let's go and have a little look, shall we, mate? For the second time today.
Second time. Try and remember what I said a minute ago.
So we've got the crank line in the block.
Yeah.
With plastic gauge still on it.
Yes. So I built
did
all this up with the plastic gauge in.
Yeah.
Torqued it up, obviously on those big long head bolts.
On the standard head bolts.
Yeah.
We are going to be fitting the stud and nut kit in this, the ARP job.
Yeah.
So we've checked the clearances with the standard head bolts. And what have we got?
We've got about 1.7 across the board, really.
And the journal diameter?
1.8 inch. So
got about 0.9 per inch.
Yeah.
Perfect on a performance engine.
I checked a big end as well on Friday, and that was about the same, and they're very similar sized journals anyway. So
nice, mate, nice.
So I do.
So the next step on this, I suspect, will be wait for the stud and nut kit to come.
Yes.
Now there's a sequence, you've got to put these together, haven't you? Which we've discovered.
Yes.
Looking at it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can put the crank carrier on, but on the back of the crank carrier is what holds the head studs, or the head stud and nuts.
So you bolt this basically to the back of the crank carrier.
Yeah.
And that's got all the threads in that the head bolts bolt into.
So if anyone can see the problem you've got there, if you bolt that on before doing the big ends up,
gets in the way.
You ain't going to be able to do it.
Yeah, so basically you've got all the 8mm bolts that just go around the outside of there, almost just to seal it.
Just to seal it,
So you'll have to put that on with those 8mm bolts in, and then do up the big ends, or put the rods and pistons in, and liners and what have you. And I suspect I'll probably have to build this with the engine on its side.
Right.
Most of the time. So that the liners don't fall out, because obviously they can just drop out.
Nice.
So until you've got the head on.
So you got to what we're going to do, have you got to load the piston into the liner before it all goes in the motor, or can you do it the other way around?
Might be a good idea too, just because those liners will rotate and sort of move about, so it might be easiest to just load them in on the bench. Load them in on the bench,
then get them in, torque them up, get the cradle on the back, head on, stud and nut kit, torque it all up.
Make sure I've got all my sealants and everything on there,
That's
and then
do it
bolt
all in
it
one
right
hit.
up. I'll tell you what, when I did those up, just torquing it up to do the plastic gauge.
But that was fun, wasn't it?
They feel a bit twisty. Yeah. Feel like they're going to snap on you.
Yeah. It's a funny old design, really, when you think about it, but does the job, innit? I suppose they work under the stretch, so the stretch pulling it all together all the time. But we'll probably do, I expect we'll probably do a quick dummy build with the plastic gauge off.
Yeah.
And make sure the crank turns when it's torqued up.
Make sure it all turns all right.
Yeah. because obviously you can't turn it with a plastic gauge on there, so we haven't tried that.
Yeah.
But that's good though, mate. At least the clearances are all right, isn't it?
Yep, clearances are good.
So we're just waiting for a few bits on the motors. Going to crack on with the heads of these this week and then get these 2 engines finished.
Yep.
That one's going to be done by the end of the week. Hopefully we can crack on with this. And next week, mate, we have got another Land Rover coming in.
Oh, yeah.
And possibly, very shortly after, another one.
Ideal.
So
that'll be all right, though, building a couple of them side by side.
Yeah. So we've got plenty in the pipeline, plenty to get on with.
Yeah.
A couple of Perkins still to finish.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
It ain't quiet, is it? Still waiting for the go-ahead on the right-hand Perkins.
Yeah, on that one.
Got the go-ahead on that one. So that one there, obviously, John's just done the head the end of last week.
Oh, right, he's done it.
He's finished. We had a new head, which we haven't got to put inserts in. And he's gone through it. So now, obviously, we've got the crank. It's just go through it. I think John's ground the crank on it.
Oh, right. Have we got...
So we're just waiting for bits.
Pistons and liners,
No, we've just got to wait for some bits. The only thing we've got at the minute is the mains, because the mains we could only get in plus 20 from Betco.
Right.
The rest of the stuff is coming from Vapormatic.
Right, yeah.
So that'll be it's another one to go on with. John's got the Austin 7 over in the corner there to do.
Oh, right.
We got tons to get on with here.
We do, really.
So, yeah, we're going to cut this one short and sweet today. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Until Wednesday's video. See you then. Have a good night.